Hello everyone, welcome to my update US gossip channel. Christine Brown of Sister Wives felt like slapping Janelle in this moment. Season 20 of Sister Wives has showcased how Kody Brown, his wife, Robin Brown, and his former wives are moving forward. However, that doesn't mean that there aren't some major bumps in the road. And Christine Brown and Janelle Brown are navigating their new dynamic. And it is a tricky one when it comes to the extended family's children. After all, Christine left Kody back in 2021. She and Kody share 6 kids. However, now Christine is happily and monogamously married to David Woolley. We're totally a partnership. I absolutely love monogamy, Christine said of her new marriage. I was made for it. Janelle Brown bragging about being close to her kids upset Christine. However, Christine's feelings about Kody are far from warm and fuzzy. Recently, during a season 20 episode of Sister Wives, Christine revealed her feelings about her son, Paydon, moving to North Carolina. This move, to be closer to Janelle, caused some hurt feelings. There was a time when most of my kids were right next to me. In her confessional, Christine stated, and then I married David, and I feel like we had this huge, full experience. And now half my kids are gone. I just feel like, I just must be a bad mom, she told her husband. However, David insisted, they all have to grow up. Christine responded, they're picking Janelle instead of me. In another confessional, Christine reflected on a conversation that she had with Janelle. She once said, and I have all the grandkids living with me, blah blah blah, when we were discussing moving. And I was like, thinking inside, you need to shut up right now, Christine said. That was the exact instant when I felt like slapping her, she said. She added, how could she say that? Meanwhile, Christine's daughter, Michael T. Brown Padron, and her family also moved to North Carolina. Her half-sister Maddie Brown is raising 4 children with her husband at the farm that they purchased with Janelle. And Michael T. wants her children to be raised with their cousins. Season 20 of Sister Wives has peeled back the layers of the Brown family like never before, exposing both raw wounds and the deep, complicated love that still lingers between the people who once shared a plural marriage built on faith, loyalty, and the promise of eternal unity. But as time goes on, the fractures that formed long before the cameras started rolling have widened into unbridgeable gaps, and one of the most surprising emotional rifts to emerge is between 2 women who were once allies in nearly everything, Christine Brown and Janelle Brown. For years, viewers have seen the two as the ultimate team, women who stood shoulder to shoulder through Kody Brown's favoritism toward Robin, women who understood each other's struggles in a household that often put them second or third, women who found sisterhood in shared survival. Yet, in season 20, that alliance has been tested in ways Christine never expected. In a confessional moment that shocked fans and underscored just how real the emotional fallout has become, Christine admitted that she felt like slapping Janelle in a heated conversation, an impulsive reaction born not from anger alone but from heartbreak, jealousy, and a deep sense of loss over her changing family. To understand why Christine's emotions boiled over in that moment, one has to go back to where her story with Janelle began. For years, Christine and Janelle's relationship was built on respect and mutual understanding. Janelle was practical, measured, and steady, the kind of woman who could compartmentalize Kody's neglect and focus on her kids, her job, and her independence. Christine, on the other hand, was heart-first, guided by emotion and intuition. Together, they made sense of the chaos of plural marriage, often confiding in each other when Kody's attention leaned heavily toward Robin or when family tensions threatened to split the wives apart. When Christine left Kody in 2021, Janelle was her biggest supporter. She was the one who encouraged Christine to pursue happiness, to believe she deserved love, and to start a new life outside the shadow of polygamy. For Christine, that support meant everything. It helped her find the courage to walk away and later embrace a new chapter of her life with David Woolley, a man she describes as her equal, her true partner, and the embodiment of everything she had long hoped for in a relationship. But even newfound happiness doesn't erase old wounds, and Christine's complicated feelings about family, motherhood, and loyalty surfaced again when her son Paydon decided to move to North Carolina, closer to Janelle and some of his siblings who had already settled there. The move should have been something Christine could celebrate. After all, Paydon was growing, finding his independence, and choosing his own path. Yet, for Christine, it was another reminder of how the family she once centered her world around was scattering in different directions. There was a time when most of my kids were right next to me, Christine reflected in her confessional, her voice cracking under the weight of bittersweet nostalgia. And then I married David, and I feel like we had this huge, full experience. And now half my kids are gone. In that moment, Christine wasn't just mourning the physical distance between herself and her children, she was mourning the fading image of the mother she had once been, the glue that held so many relationships together, the nurturer who made sure everyone felt loved and connected even when Cody couldn't or wouldn't do the same. David, ever the calm and grounding force in her life, tried to reassure her, reminding her that their children were growing up, building lives, and making choices that had nothing to do with how much they loved her. They all have to grow up, he said gently, but Christine's reply revealed something deeper. They're picking Janelle instead of me. That single line, so raw, so honest, summed up what Christine had been feeling for months. It wasn't just about Paydon moving away, it was about the symbolic shift in family gravity. For so long, she and Janelle had stood united against the dysfunction that Cody's favoritism created. Now, Christine felt like she was on the outside looking in, while Janelle's world was flourishing with kids and grandkids who seemed to orbit around her. In a later confessional, Christine described a conversation with Janelle that triggered emotions she hadn't fully processed. One of the times we were talking about moving, she's like, and I have all the grandkids living with me, blah blah blah. And I was like, thinking inside, you need to shut up right now. That was the moment where I felt like slapping her. Her words weren't cruel, they were painfully human. That slapping instinct wasn't rooted in hatred, it was born out of envy, out of the ache of watching someone you love have something you long for but no longer have. For Christine, Janelle's casual bragging about being surrounded by her grandkids was like pressing on an old bruise, a reminder that Christine's own family unit, once so full and chaotic, had become quieter, emptier. Janelle, of course, likely meant no harm. She's always been matter-of-fact, often unaware of how her straightforwardness can sting. Her pride in having her grandkids close wasn't about competing with Christine, it was about celebrating a rare moment of togetherness after years of fragmentation. Yet, in Christine's heart, those words landed wrong. They highlighted the divide between their experiences post-divorce. Janelle, despite her own break from Cody, had maintained physical closeness with her children, Maddie and her growing family in North Carolina, and her sons who often came to visit her. Christine, meanwhile, was navigating a long-distance web of relationships, kids scattered across states, lives unfolding away from her daily reach. It wasn't anyone's fault, but that didn't make it hurt any less. The irony is that Christine's jealousy wasn't truly about Janelle, it was about the life Christine once imagined for herself. She had dreamed of family dinners surrounded by laughter, of her children bringing their partners and babies home, of weekends filled with noise and love. Instead, she found herself facing the quiet reality of change. Her kids had grown up, moved away, and started their own families, and while she had found love again, there was a part of her that missed being the center of the Brown family's maternal world. When Janelle spoke about having her grandkids close, it tapped into Christine's deepest insecurity, the fear that in leaving Cody and starting fresh, she had somehow lost the glue that bound her children together. This is where Christine's emotional complexity shines through. She's not bitter, she's human. She's self-aware enough to know that her reaction was unfair, yet she's honest enough to admit it out loud. That's what makes her confession so powerful. How could she say that? Christine added in her confessional, shaking her head as if still reliving the sting of that moment. But the truth is, Christine's journey has always been about growth through vulnerability. Even in frustration, she chooses honesty over suppression. That's why fans connect with her, she says what so many feel but are too afraid to express. Christine's candidness about that moment also speaks volumes about how her friendship with Janelle is evolving. They still love each other deeply, but they're no longer walking the same path. Janelle is finding joy in her independence, in her children and grandchildren, while Christine is embracing her second act as a wife, a partner, and a woman finally living for herself. Their lives, once parallel, are diverging, and that shift can feel unsettling when so much of their identity used to be intertwined. The emotional gap between them isn't malicious, it's transitional. Interestingly, their daughters' lives seem to mirror this divide in unexpected ways. Michael T. Brown Padron, Christine's daughter, has also moved to North Carolina with her husband Tony and their children, joining Maddie and her family on the farm that Janelle and her daughter purchased. The move has tightened Janelle's branch of the family tree but has left Christine feeling emotionally and geographically distant. Michael T's choice wasn't about choosing sides, but to a mother's heart, distance can sometimes feel like disloyalty, even when it isn't meant that way. Christine's confession, "they're picking Janelle instead," echoes every parent's unspoken fear, that as children grow and lives change, the bonds that once seemed unbreakable may stretch thin. Yet, beneath the jealousy, there's admiration. Christine has always respected Janelle's calm strength, her ability to remain grounded no matter the chaos swirling around her. Janelle's closeness with her kids isn't luck, it's the result of years of patience, communication, and a hands-off parenting style that allowed her children to trust her completely. Christine, on the other hand, was the heart-on-her-sleeve mother, the one who smothered her kids with love and involvement. Both styles worked, but in moments like this, Christine can't help but compare and question. Did her intensity push her kids away? Did her focus on her marriage to David make her children feel secondary? Did she inadvertently become the mother they visit occasionally instead of the one they call daily? These are the questions that linger behind her laughter, her confessional jokes, her bright smiles in interviews. It's worth noting that Christine's honesty about these feelings doesn't make her petty, it makes her real. In fact, that moment of vulnerability may be one of her most relatable. So many mothers watching Sister Wives have likely had a similar flash of envy when hearing about someone else's family closeness. It doesn't mean she loves her kids any less, it means she's still adjusting to a new phase of motherhood, one where her role has changed. She's no longer the primary caretaker, no longer the central figure everyone depends on. She's learning how to be the supportive mom from afar, the mom who sends care packages, plans visits, and video chats instead of cooking dinner for a table full of kids. And then there's the larger context, the Brown family dynamic itself. The fallout from Cody's failed plural marriage continues to ripple through every relationship. Even though Christine and Janelle have both moved on from Cody romantically, they're still untangling themselves from the emotional patterns that the family's structure created. For years, their sisterhood was defined by mutual struggle against neglect.